Hi there everybody, welcome back to the Toon Review. My name's Paul and this isn't so much a latest news video this morning. This is more to do with the pundits and what they keep banging on about, telling Newcastle United fans how to behave week in, week out towards the manager Eddie Howe. Now what I will say is, before I go into it, that obviously any verbal abuse of the manager, etc., just isn't condoned. It's a load of crap. You should never get personal. You know, what we are saying on here, and a lot of the viewers are saying on here, is it is management. The football side of things isn't very good. And that's why we think that it's now time for Eddie to move on. It's nothing personal against the man. Look, he's been fantastic manager for us, winning a trophy, 70 years domestic weight, and also 2 Champions Leagues. We can't argue with that. That is superb. But Eddie's reached a level. And I think, you know, over the years, he's probably overachieved. So have some of these players. We've seen some of these players have some real purple patches and then gone completely off a cliff. Jacob Murphy, for instance. However, there is some other people on there on social media stating that Newcastle United fans, or certain Newcastle United fans, are getting a lot of joy from Newcastle not playing very well because they can turn around and say they're right about Eddie Howe. Not us. Look, were we right about Eddie Howe? Yes. There's no doubt about that. Our opinions have been proved right. However, there's no way I want Newcastle United to go on that pitch and lose every game just to say, oh, we're right about Eddie Howe. I wanted Eddie Howe to turn it around. I've said that. I've been quoted as saying that. You can go back and watch videos. I've wanted Eddie Howe to turn it around. I love the bloke for what he's done at Newcastle United. But people get to a certain level and then it is time to move on. Whether we like it or not, that is just the way football works. It's a conveyor belt. And at the end of the day, Eddie Howe, the players, they come and go. Newcastle United stays. The fans stay. You know, this is the way football works. Nobody is bigger than the football club. And I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. I genuinely believe that there is some fans out there who are thinking more with their hearts than their heads. And it's turning a little bit into Eddie Howe United. And this is where we go into what the pundits have been saying. You know, I've been reading quotes this morning from Pat Nevin, from Ben Foster, from Paul Merson, all having a dig at the Newcastle United fans because of their treatment of Eddie Howe, how they think it's disgraceful that we want him removed because of what he's done. But again, I will bang on that drum. He has done. That is past tense, not this tense. It's past. He's done. He's done wonderfully well. But now is the time for somebody else, a more elite manager, to come in and take us to that next level that I don't think Eddie Howe is capable of doing. And quite frankly, I don't think the board are confident that Eddie Howe can do that, but we'll see in the summer. I don't think Eddie's going anywhere till the summer, by the way. I know there's a lot of people wanting him out now so that maybe a new manager can come in and give us that little bit of a boost, or you can have a look at the squad, see what he's got, and then be able to rebuild it in the summer. So it's not a bad idea either way, but I just don't think Newcastle United will replace Eddie Howe until the summer. But what I don't want to get is toxic. But these pundits are not helping with that situation by calling out Newcastle United fans. These pundits, they watch Newcastle United on a very, very odd occasion. You know, the likes of Nevin, Ben Foster, Merson, they don't watch Newcastle United every week. They don't watch the crazy in-game management that Eddie comes up with, the baffling starting lineups and everything else that goes with it, and the downfall of Newcastle United this season. We are 14th in the Premier League. After spending £250 million in the summer, he's 14th in the table. That, in any world, is not good enough. But these pundits, I mean, I don't know what it is. Is it because Eddie Howe's an English manager? Is it because he could potentially be the next England football manager? I don't know what it is. I don't know why these pundits think they are above the level of the fans to give their opinion when they don't watch the football team week in, week out. Surely we as fans, right? We are the ones that watch the team week in, week out. We have a better judgment of that. And certainly for a lot of fans who've watched the club since the 70s, 80s, we very much have an opinion. Do we have football qualifications? Not many of us do. But you don't need qualifications to see what on earth is going on the pitch and mistakes that are consistently being made by the manager and the coaching staff. There's a disconnect right now between the players and the staff. I genuinely start to believe that. You know, you see Livramento arguing with the coaching staff in the last game. Something is not right behind the scenes. Eddie's body language in the press conference before the game. You know, if that's the kind of persona that he's setting up in the dressing room, he's setting us up to lose. Where's the motivation coming from? So I just do not understand why we are being told by people like Nevin, etc., to, you know, be careful what we wish for. And I'm sick of hearing that phrase lately. Careful what you wish for. No, we wish to be the best. You know, our CEO comes out and tells us that it's the owners and himself want us to be one of the best or up there with the best by the year 2030. Now, if they're telling us that, why is we as fans, why should we not back that and have the same ambition? What is wrong with showing ambition? Because right now, 14th in the Premier League is not good enough. That is not the ambition of the CEO and the owners. Now, they've got to make, obviously, a very, very big decision in the summer. And that's their decision to make, it doesn't matter who we want as manager. People keep questioning me, saying, well, who do you want? Who's out there that would come in? That's not up to me to make that decision. That's up to the owners to go out there and bring an elite manager in and pay elite manager wages. It's nothing to do with who the fans want. They have to get this decision right if Eddie is indeed to leave the football club. So the pundits don't know what is going on a day-to-day basis at this football club. They don't watch us. They don't see the players disconnect with the coaches. They don't see the ludicrous decisions and how bad some of the players are as well. You know, I'm not going to just call Eddie Howe out for this. The players do need to take responsibility as well. But whose fault is it? Whose squad is it? You know, you look at Jacob Murphy. This is the year 2026. And Jacob Murphy is still around for Newcastle United. He captained the side, for God's sake, on Sunday. I mean, in any world, that isn't good enough. It just isn't. And we've kept players, we've given them extensions and extensions and extensions, and now we're in the crap because of it. It's simple. You just look at the decisions that have been made to keep certain players on and on and on. And now it gets to a stage where we get no money for them. And then it gives Eddie Howe the PSR excuse again. Well, it's gone. There's no excuses now. It's just silly excuses to try and get out the shit that he's built for himself. It's not hard to work that out, guys. It's not hard to see it. But these pundits, they don't have a clue. They really don't have a clue. And as for the journalists, Lee Ryder, fantastic, fighting back for the fans. That's what I love to see. But then you've got Puke Edwards coming out with more bollocks about, oh, this is why I support Eddie Howe. You're a Leyton Orient fan, for one, and you're nothing to do with Newcastle United. Your job is to report on Newcastle United, not back the manager. Since when does a journalist say, oh, I'm backing the manager? You're nothing to do with Newcastle United. It's different for the likes of the Geordie Journos, Craig Hope and all, Lee Ryder, all these connected with the club who are fans of the football club. But you telling the fans again that you disgrace and things like that because of our treatment of Eddie Howe, you have no right to say garbage like that. Not at all. And well done to Lee Ryder, by the way, for calling out the pundits. You know, he's took some criticism in the past, Lee Ryder, but by God, he's right about this. And well said. But as long as the likes of Luke Edwards, etc., and the pundits all gather round and back Eddie Howe and blame the fans, it's always the fans' fault. No, the fans are the lifeblood of this football club. That's what we are. We're the lifeblood of it. And without the fans, the club is nothing. Players will come and go. Managers will come and go. But the fans will not. We are the life and the heartbeat of that football club, and nobody has the right to tell us how we should feel towards the players, the manager, the club in general. That is up to us. We are the lifeblood of the club. So get that in your thick heads and stop telling us how we should behave. Simple as that. But thank you very much for watching the video, folks. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button for us. And of course, please do subscribe to the Toon Review YouTube channel. And we will see you all again very soon. Take care.